The convergence of our voices is the song of our beauty. Many voices will speak here, the song woven through diverse notes.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Crone Chronicles. And today I am speaking to, and now I have to ask you if you pronounce your name Vanderstoop or some other way. It's Vanderstoop. Okay.
That's perfect.
Doreen Vanderstoop, who is a storyteller. And well, maybe I'll ask you how you describe yourself.
Thank you, Gail. Thank you so much for having me on. I just want to say, first of all, that it's a delight to be with you, and kudos to you for celebrating the lives and pursuits of older women. I love that you do this. So I've never really given myself permission to call myself a crone because I always think you need certain wisdom for that. Maybe now that you've had me on, I think I will. Anyway,
Encouragement.
yeah, for sure, for sure. So yes, I describe myself as a storyteller, an author, and a musician. And I like to say that I like to pursue lots of things where I can't make a lot of money because you can't really make a
Yes.
lot of money at any of those things. But they're wonderful pursuits, and I'm thrilled to be in the world of arts and able to pursue my arts.
Yes, and art is so enriching for yourself and others. And speaking of enriching, I'd like to ask you about the work that you do with story and people with dementia.
Yes, that was a big project I did with Storytelling Alberta. Background about what Storytelling Alberta is all about is that we're an organization that promotes not only professional storytellers, because we do, but we also invite people to come and listen, celebrate the art of oral storytelling, and also to find their own voices. And that was the point of the project that we did during the pandemic with seniors, because we realized that people were very isolated during that time, and seniors in particular. And so we developed a program that allowed us to bring oral stories to seniors, but also to encourage them to share stories with us about their lived history. And so it just gave them a sense that their lives and their stories are of value. And so it was a wonderful project. We employed people who were professional storytellers in the Storytelling Alberta organization, and we there were several parts to the program. So one, we did one-on-one sessions with seniors where we would deliver a story to them and we would invite the senior to share a story with us. Then we did group sessions where we would bring a story and then we would go around the circle and create a storytelling circle with the seniors. And we also recorded their stories. And my dear friend Marika Schouten, who's an author and a storyteller as well, she led that program of recording senior stories. And you can still find some of those, even though we've archived most of them. We got permission to keep some of those recorded stories on our Storytelling Alberta YouTube channel. And so those are there for the viewing. And all you need to do is go to YouTube and search for Storytelling Alberta, and you can find our legacy videos there. So that was another part. Then we branched off, actually, as the project went on, we branched off into doing programs for people with dementia. And that was such a joyful experience because we were trained in a program that allows people with dementia to do story creation in a way that works for them in the moment. So we would bring a picture in and we'd distribute the picture to the whole group. And then we'd ask questions about the picture. We'd say, well, who's in the picture and what's going on in the picture and what do you think's happening and how do you think these people are feeling? And so we'd ask all kinds of questions. And whatever answers they provided created the story. And so we wrote them down at the front of the room on a whiteboard or large paper. And then we would transcribe that once the session was over, and we'd send it back to the recreational therapist in the facility. And they variously either created a binder of stories that were created by the people in the memory care units, or one even had a wall display of the stories that were created with the pictures. And it was such an amazing way to validate everyone's ability to be imaginative and to tell stories. So there was no need for them to tap into their own lived history, which was, is often difficult. They could just live in the moment, use their imagination to create the story. And it was just a wonderful, wonderful experience for all of us, for the residency in these units, but also for the storyteller facilitators.
So that program doesn't isn't continuing.
It didn't. We got funding for it through the
Yeah.
Calgary Seniors Resource Society, and so that funding lasted for 4 years,
Oh.
and then it ended. And it's difficult. We've tried to bring it to facilities since then, but there isn't a lot of funding for programs in facilities like that,
Hmm.
in memory care units. And so we can't provide it for free, because our storytellers do make a living at what they do. And
Yes.
so every now and again we'll get a request for one. I have done a couple of them. I've done a couple of sessions since the project ended, and it's wonderful. So usually once or twice a year, I still get a call
Hmm.
to do one.
Yeah. Yeah. And do these stories remain in the facility? Uh, yeah.
They do. They have. We haven't done anything further with them. We basically, said these are proprietary to you and your facility, and you can do with
Yeah.
them what you will.
Yeah.
If the project had gone on, maybe we would have been able to compile a book or something, with the stories in
Hmm.
it. That would have been
Hmm.
would have been a cool idea, but never got around to that
Oh,
part of it. We just delivered the programs, which was lovely in
yeah.
itself.
Well, the program sounds really worthwhile, as it was. Yeah.
It
So,
was.
you are also a musician, and how do you bring music into your storytelling?
Well, I usually sprinkle the music in between the stories, and often I'll do a program on a theme, and then I'll choose songs that go with the theme. I do mostly covers, but I did actually write my own song last year. I got into the world of songwriting for the very first time, which was very exciting. So I have one song that I'm going to debut here in Calgary next month. On May 27th, we're going to have a story cafe, which I'm directing and performing in. And I have five other wonderful tellers who are going to join me. We're going to do an array of stories. Some of them are folk tales, some of them are family stories. I have a historical fiction story that I'm going to tell. And so we'll have a little bit of music as well. We have an amazing storyteller, Jeff Stockton, who plays the harp, and he's going to come and tell a story and play his harp. So that's one way we intersperse music in our storytelling programs. And I do
Yeah.
the same thing when I go to do a show, whether it's at a seniors home or a festival. I'm actually going to do a program at the Celtic Festival in Water Valley here in Alberta in June. So I'm excited about that. And my program is all about water. So I've got stories about water and songs on the theme of water. So I usually kind of, have a theme, and then I build the stories and the songs around the theme. And
Yeah.
it's one I find it a wonderful thing, because it's just the songs are a nice counterpoint to the stories. The stories are
Hmm.
lovely, and it's just nice to have a little change for the audience, right? To have a little music thrown in there every now and again. It's a nice little break. Sometimes
Yeah.
stories sometimes stories can be intense for an audience.
Hmm.
It can require a lot of thinking and reflection, and so the songs are a little bit of a break for the brain.
Yeah, it reminds me of when I went to the Volta region in Ghana, and the traditional storytellers would have a break between the stories, and people would get up and they'd sing or they'd dance or something. So, yeah, that's a very similar idea. Um, and if people wanted to visit the Story Cafe, how would they get in touch and find out about it?
Well, thank you for asking. Yeah, they would just go to our Storytelling Alberta website, and then you go under events and you go to the Calgary chapter, and then you'll find how to register for the event there. You can buy your tickets. It's $20 a ticket. And then yeah, then you show up on the 27th at Caria Village Commons, it's called here in Calgary. And lovely, lovely, warm, comfortable setting. So yeah, it's we really enjoy. We do all of our programs there right now. We have a wonderful partnership with them, and so it's a lovely cafe setup. So very relaxed
Yeah.
and very casual. So
Yeah. And at $20, that's a good deal, I'd say.
it
Yeah.
is. It is. Yeah, we've varied the price over the years, but we really want to make our programs accessible for people, and so we find $20. It's a good way to get close to recouping what we spend on it. Of course, we pay our storytellers
Mhm.
for their performances and our musicians. We pay them as well. So we it's very important to us to pay artists a market wage for what they do.
Absolutely. Yes. And speaking of water, which you did just mention, you have a book which is called Watershed, isn't it? Yeah.
It is, and it came out in 2020, and it's a futuristic book. It's sort of a near future dystopian novel about Alberta after the glaciers are gone. So it's mainly a story about family, story about mother and her son and their varying ambitions. Their ambitions differ greatly from one another, and so it's about a family who owns a goat farm, and mom wants to stay on the goat farm, and the son wants to leave, and he's got bigger fish to fry, and so it's the conflict between the two of them that sort of plays out as the story goes on.
Hmm.
So yeah, and it was a way to explore climate change and the impact that climate change might have here in Alberta, particularly on the lives of farmers and how much more difficult life will be for them, with the
Hmm.
effects of climate change, and also there's a few thriller elements in it too that had lots of fun writing. So it's literary fiction with a few thriller elements thrown in for fun.
Oh, that sounds great. And that won an Alberta Book Award.
It was lovely. In 2021, it won the Association of Alberta Book Publishers Award for the trade publication of the year. So yeah,
Yeah.
it was lovely. It was a difficult time to have a book come out, as you can well imagine. It was during the pandemic. I had a whole book tour booked, and I was going to go all through southern Alberta, and I was going up to Red Deer and Edmonton, and I had all these venues booked, and that was in February, and then of course in March it all fell apart.
Yeah, yeah.
So that was sort of the end of that plan. However, a lot of the events that I ended up doing were online. And so that kind of gave me new opportunities that I would otherwise not have had because for instance, I went to the Toronto Word on the Street Festival, ended up
Oh.
going to going to the Saskatoon Writers Festival and Victoria. And I'm not sure that I would have gotten to all of those. I'm not sure I would have been able to go to them. So being able to do those things online and even doing my book launch online was really fun because there was somebody from Ireland who joined and somebody from the Cayman Islands who joined. And I thought, well, if I'd had it at the bookstore in downtown Calgary, those people would not have been there. So there are sometimes there's advantages when bad stuff happens, good stuff comes along with it. So
Yeah.
I was very grateful to still have those opportunities to share the book with everyone, even though we
Yeah.
were all in lockdown at the time. So
Mhm.
it was
And
lovely. And I
Calgary?
have to,
Oh,
sorry.
I was just going to talk about Calgary bookstores. And they have a few independent stores.
They do. There's Pages on Kensington, there's Shelf
Yeah.
Life Books, and there's Owl's Nest Books in the south. All thriving independent bookstores. Whenever people want to buy a book, I always steer them in that direction
Yes.
because we love to support our independent booksellers for sure in
Hmm.
Calgary, and it's great that they're doing so well.
Yes. Yeah. And before I interrupted you, what are you going to say about
Well, I
the
was I was just going to talk about the writing community too, because I have my storytelling community is wonderful. I joined Storytelling Alberta in 2015 and worked with an amazing mentor, Mary Hayes, who has been a decades-long storyteller, and she was an absolutely fantastic mentor. And there's so many people at Storytelling in Alberta who inspire me, but also in the writing community. It's a very strong writing community here in Calgary, and I have many friends who inspire me every day to write well and just to help the I don't know, help the world try and understand itself. I think that's the importance of writing. Is That's the reason I read, that's the reason I tell stories, and it's also the reason I write, is to try and understand what the heck's going on in the world, and also to sort of unravel these complicated relationships that humans have with each other. And so yeah, the community here, the writing community in Calgary, is wonderful. I shout out to the Alexandra Writer Center Society. They put on an amazing array of workshops for people who are um, just starting out. They're emerging writers, or people who've been writing for decades. There are wonderful opportunities to always learn more about how to be a better writer and how to be inspired to write. So it's vibrant, and so many things going on with Word Fest as well here in Calgary. So I encourage everybody who's thinking about writing or who enjoys reading to tap into those organizations and those opportunities.
Yeah, Calgary really does have a really full art scene or literary art scene anyway. I don't know about the other arts. Yeah.
No, well, I love to go to plays.
Mhm.
So the theatrical world here in Calgary is very vibrant as well. I'm not a playwright, although I did mention to you in an email, I did write a 10-minute play at one point very early on in my storytelling career, which was great fun. And that was performed at one of our cafes, but I'm not a playwright, but it's very vibrant as well. One of the things, though, that I do love about storytelling is that there isn't that fourth wall. There's
Yeah.
just you and the listener, and
Hmm.
there's such a deep, profound connection that happens between a storyteller and an audience, and it's something amazing to experience as a listener, and especially as a storyteller. It's really incredible to me how often my performance is really affected by the feeling I get from the audience. And uh, and and you also, I try and tailor my stories and my programs to a particular audience, but it's amazing the exchange that happens, that subtle, exchange that happens in the feelings, and just the sense you get from people listening, and the way that they're looking and pondering what you're saying. It's really quite a remarkable experience to
Yeah, yeah. There's
yeah,
nothing
in the
like it, is
moment.
there?
There's nothing like it. Yeah, yeah, there is. um it's such an in the moment experience, right? Nothing else matters when
Hmm.
you're sitting there and you're sharing a story with someone, or you're sitting there and listening to a story. That's all that matters in that moment, is that exchange between you. And
Yeah, yeah.
it's quite wonderful. It's quite a wonderful diversion.
Yes. So, before we end our talk, is there anything that you would like to say that we haven't talked about already?
Well, I love the fact that you mentioned your own experience with storytelling in where was it again?
It was the Volta region of Ghana.
Ghana. Okay.
Yeah.
And were you a storyteller there?
I didn't tell stories there. I went to collect some of the stories there because I had been told by a friend who had spent time there that the young people just weren't interested in the stories and the stories were dying. And because she knew I'm a storyteller, she said, "Why don't you go over and see what you can get from the people about the stories?" So I did do that, and it was a really interesting experience. And you know, the young there was one place I went where the young people were involved, and that was where they would get up and dance. But that was only the only place, and other places people would say, "Oh, yes, we would sing a little song after a story," and maybe they'd sing a little song. Yeah.
Right. That's wonderful. And what have you done with the stories that you were able to collect?
I put them in an ebook, so they are
Oh,
available in an ebook. I called it Voices of the Ancestors. Stories and lore
beautiful.
from Ghana's Volta region or something like that. Um,
Beautiful. And is that available for sale on Amazon or something?
yes, it's on Books to Read site.
Okay. Well, that's great. I'm going to look that up for sure. That sounds absolutely amazing. And I think it is, that multi-generational impact of storytelling is really important. And
Yes.
we certainly we try and attract all generations of people to our story circles. And we've grown quite a bit. The Calgary chapter has grown quite a bit over the
Oh,
last 10
nice.
years or so. And
Hmm.
it's wonderful. We have people of all ages who come. So from, young people in their 20s and 30s, we also have a nonagenarian who is 92 now. And
Ah,
she is an absolutely amazing storyteller. And she actually hosted our story circle last week.
oh,
So that's
nice. Yeah.
Anne Garesht, who, if people ever watched Romper Room, she was Miss Anne on
Mhm.
TV for many years. So, and now
Yes.
she's one of our storytellers. So
Oh,
yeah,
great. Yeah.
yeah,
I have
it's
to
pretty
admit, I don't really watch very much TV.
well, it was a long time ago that she was on, so
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
she's not on now. But she's still going strong, right? Still going strong. And it's
Yeah,
wonderful to experience that the sharing of the stories from
yeah.
our elders. Um, it's just so important
Yes,
to
it
to
is.
know for them
Yeah,
to know that their stories are valued
yeah,
and for us to value those stories is really important. So
yeah,
it's a big part of our work.
yeah. So there are weekly events that happen
Actually, monthly. So
monthly.
every second Wednesday of the month, we have from September to May, actually, because we do take a break June, July, and August.
Mm,
But every second Wednesday of the month, we have a story sharing circle that is open to anybody, and you can
mm.
come and you can listen, but you can also share a story if you want. We actually had two brand new people last week who, when the story stick went around the circle to them, they said, "Are we allowed to tell?" And we said, "Of course you can. Of course you can." And so this one gentleman told an amazing story. And then he became a member that night. He
Oh,
went online and became a member in our organization. So it's always wonderful to welcome new people and give them a chance to have their voice heard and have their
yeah,
stories heard. It's
yeah, yeah.
amazing. So yeah, so it's once a month, and then every couple of months we'll have a cafe at the end of the month where we it's more of a performance, for people
Mhm,
to come and an audience will listen to oral stories being told. So
mhm.
lots of stuff
Ah,
going on.
yes, well, it's wonderful to hear about all the storytelling things that are happening there in Calgary. And thank you so much for talking to me. It was a real pleasure. And Yeah, when I'm in Calgary, I'll have to see if my times coincide to visit.
That would be amazing, Gail. That would be wonderful. Thank you. Thank you again. Thank you for sharing about your capturing of the stories and also for doing this podcast. It's wonderful, as I said, for you to celebrate women of a certain age, as we like to say.
Yes, and I enjoy talking to everybody, and it's um it's enlightening for me, and I hope it's enlightening for everybody who's watching. So
It
thank you
is an
very
absolute,
much.
it was a delight to be with you.